everybody, and welcome to another edition of Magic Mics, proudly sponsored by our Patreon supporters and CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock every day. And check out our co-sponsor, CardHoarder.com, offering the best inventory, prices, and delivery of cards for Magic Online. Finally, check out our new Altar Sleeves. Get your custom sleeve image of the Magic Mics crew at AltarSleeves.com/MagicMics. And do check out their brand new Kickstarter, the Mythic Frames Kickstarter from Altar Sleeves. Those wonderful people sponsor us, and they got a cool Kickstarter going. You go check that out right now. That said, I'm Evan Irwin, and we get started each week by saying hello to my two co-hosts, Aaron Campbell.
How's it going?
Ruben Bressler.
Hey, good evening. What's going on?
Everything is lovely. You get your chance at a $50 gift certificate to CoolStuffInc.com by typing exclamation mark raffle in the chat. But subscribe first to get 2 chances to win. And don't forget our raid at the end of the show to support a member of the community. Enter your suggestions at the end of the show to see who we raid after we're done. So the first pick. Sorry?
I was just going to say, I meant to tell you, Martin Case has been trying to get a hold of you since this afternoon. He has questions about Altar Sleeves.
Yes, I actually passed those on right before we began filming the pre-show. So
okay,
I will talk to
I got
him.
you, Martin. I see you.
I will talk to you later, Martin. We will figure it out. All right, cool. So the first pick for this week showed up today, as they sometimes often do, where Post Malone causes a frenzy at a card shop, dropping thousands on magic in quotes, cards on the homepage of TMZ.com. Whew, you don't see this every day, now do you?
Yeah. Sorry.
You're good.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Post Malone has made no secret of the fact that he enjoys Magic. I believe he did an appearance on a late night show wearing the Magic shirt. If you remember, there was a capsule collection that came out a while ago with some very limited edition items on it, and one of them was a shirt. I think it went for around $150, and it was basically just like a glorified button-down that was covered in Magic cards. And so he's obviously a fan, and apparently he showed up at a store, and this mob just came out to see him. And there were also, according to the article, it was speculated that he's the one who dropped money on the Lotus recently.
Really?
Because it was about $500,000, and he's probably got $500,000 laying around. So, so it's no secret he's a Magic fan. This was exciting. It's always good to see good coverage about Magic. It's always good to see people who are proud of the fact that they enjoy Magic. I think we've all maybe have had a little bit of Magic shame where, like, how do we tell people we're into Magic? You don't know how that conversation's going to go. And he just puts it all out there, and I think it's great.
I did not know that he was being talked about in whispered tones of being the famed Lotus purchaser. That's interesting.
I mean,
yeah,
a lot of money.
Yeah, he's. There's no secret. He is a unabashed nerd. The music video for the hit song "Circles" is a LARP reenactment. And he famously wore, I think it was the We Are Brain Dead collection. Maybe it was something else he wore on Seth Meyers. And he just goes to a card shop, plays a Marike EDH deck, and crushes the table, is the story that I heard first. And then immediately, we gotta tap into this now. And of course, hence, ergo, vis-a-vis, game nights.
Game nights, hashtag game nights. The finger there for Oh my goodness. Aaron Forsyth saying something I don't understand. 32 ounces on me like I'm magic. What does that mean? I don't know.
I'm guessing it's a lyric. I'm not
sure
too familiar with Posty's discography, but it's a fun story about Posty. Circles is great, obviously, but his song Psycho is on my airplane playlist because I'm famously afraid of flying. I don't like flying at all. And I have a playlist that is specifically like kind of calming, chill songs that I just sort of put on repeat when I'm in the air. And I have that song on there. And every time I think of that song, I think of being in the air and doing a Sudoku puzzle.
And this is all terrific. I definitely want to run a poll now as to how many people believe that there was money changing hands for this, this happening or not. Was this all coincidence?
Is it a brand deal, or is it just Post Malone wanted to play Magic? Because it could be both, or it could be either, I should say.
His people hit up game nights and who knows what, right? But
yeah, it would remind me of the Cassius Marsh situation where we learned about in Sports Illustrated of now they're friends, they just hang out and play off camera casually, but the initial impetus was a brand deal. It would not be surprising to me if the Post Malone situation was, a very smart person at Wizards of the Coast going, oh, Post Malone is both in California and interested in Magic the Gathering. Boy, howdy, wouldn't it be great if we could get him on an episode of Game Nights promoting our game, right? Because I feel like you do that with Post Malone. Hey, that's a name that's bigger even than MrBeast, right? And I was touting the MrBeast promotion as being brilliant, regardless of how it turned out. And we still haven't seen the finished product from MrBeast yet. But Post Malone is even another factor bigger than MrBeast. Like 60 million YouTube subscribers for MrBeast. He's got what, 300 million views on each of his music videos?
Oh, he's got tons.
So,
this is a guy like my mom might have actually heard of Post Malone. My mom will have never ever heard of MrBeast. Like just never ever. There's no chance. There's a small chance for my mom, but there's no chance for MrBeast. But that said, obviously that's very exciting and super cool, and we'll see what happens with it. And the streams cross in weird ways, but sure.
I do love that he appears to be not just a fan, right? It's not a, it's great that we have Danny Trejo. It's awesome that we have Patton Oswalt. I'm sure they've played Magic, right? Especially Patton. I'm sure, probably has old cards somewhere.
Maybe.
But Post appears to be a lifer, appears to be a humongous nerd, because regardless of whether money changed hands for Game Nights, no money changed hands other than Post Malone paying for Magic cards at this game store.
It's true.
So he just walked in and was like, I want to upgrade my decks.
And
right, I don't think you have to twist his arm to do it.
Right.
Like, I think it's just like he was already a fan, and, a savvy person at Wizards was like, oh, hey, we need to leap on this, and God bless him for doing that.
And I hope they did. For what it's worth, that was a smart move and a good expenditure of dollars, in my opinion.
Whoever got that project together, congratulations, good job, because Post Malone's a difficult man to get to sit down in one place for some amount of time. So.
I mean, what Wizards, and they've talked about this many times, is, we got to keep growing. You want to keep new players into the game, because you can leave Magic, cool, but someone doesn't necessarily immediately take your place. You might come back to Magic like a lot of people do, but that doesn't mean, again, anyone comes in right after you leave. So you got to make sure that, the ecosystem's churning and we get new players. And, kids who listen to Post Malone will be like, oh, he's playing Magic? That's cool. Post Malone's cool. Magic's cool. Here we go. And giant explosion of player base.
Right. Yeah. I love the Mountain Goats as much as the next guy, but the fan base is not Post Malone sized. So I look forward to Secret Lair Post Malone with face tattoos all over all the elves.
I would say we're within. It's 3 years.
Expectation.
Within 3 years. And I think that's generous. I think it'll be happening before that.
They gave Seb McKinnon a Secret Lair. I think that they could give Post Malone a Secret Lair illustrated by Seb McKinnon. Let's do that.
Well, even if not necessarily, a Post Malone secret lair, even just a secret lair chosen by him. Like, I think that'd be really cool of, getting celebrities who love the game and just sort of, curating their personal little collections, I think would be neat.
Well, we gotta keep going from there. We do it straight Walking Dead. Post Malone gets his own Planeswalker card, and it does whatever Post Malone wants it to do, and they sell a brodillion of them.
Yeah.
Because
it doesn't have to be tournament legal if they don't want it to be. Put that little triangle on the bottom, and Post Malone can make it a 20/20 for 2 mana.
Because it's
who cares? Because who cares? Because it's Post Malone now.
All right, we're having fun. Who cares? All right, let's move on here to Gather the Townsfolk. Talk a little bit about another thing that's kind of a promo deal with personalities, this being the Great Strixhaven College Clash.
Right.
This is where we're going to have the Magic students. These are popular personalities not in Magic, being paired with Magic personalities, Gaby and NDG Nerd Girl and LSV and folks. And they have a whole trailer here that starts out pretty funny. Let's see. Make sure. Can you guys hear this? Can you guys hear that?
I cannot.
Okay. I can't.
That's okay. Well, I'm one of the best players of best Magic players of all time, says LSV to start it off with, and it's not wrong. It's not wrong. That's what's kind of cool about it.
This little teaser video was amazing, and I hadn't really heard of a lot of these personalities per se, but I think that's by design.
That's the whole point, buddy.
The whole point is I'm a Magic person. I haven't heard of these people. They're learning Magic, just like you.
Yeah.
New person coming to Magic. And oh, by the way, is this the Sue Perkins project?
I don't know about that, but I do know her as she was the one person I did recognize. Where it's the lady from the Great British Bake Off, and
right,
nice. My boyfriend and I we stopped watching it when her and it was Sue and Mel when they went. And Sue and Mel, every time I look at Sue and Mel, they remind me of Megan and Maria, like just that whole that duo and that comedy. So yeah, I recognize Sue right off the bat. Where it's like, baby, Sue's doing a magic thing. But I didn't know who the other people were.
Sue Perkins is so great. Yeah. I have been madly in love with Sue Perkins' comedy since the QI days. Back, before we did this show. QI with Stephen Fry. And Sue is on all those those British panel shows that I'm a huge sucker for. And then of course Great British Bake Off. And then Sue did a Red Nose Day event for Dungeons and Dragons last year. Oh. And so she's sort of been circling gravitationally around nerd stuff. Okay. So to see her involved in the college clash is super exciting. What a great personality to have involved, because she's such an excellent host, but she's got like this realness to her that it doesn't matter if she's unfamiliar, because you feel right at home. She's not an expert baker either, but Great British Bake Off just it brings you in, and she's so good at that.
Mm-hmm. Sure. I mean, you don't, in order to sort of talk about or present or, be a face of something, you don't have to be the best at it, essentially. Sometimes it's nice if you are, but, and
it's, especially for an event like this, you want to have that outsider's perspective.
Absolutely. So they're also doing something else here called the Lecture Series. This is a series of kind of video chats and whatnot, little lectures on things and stuff as they happen, and themed around the Silver Quill colleges, which I thought was really cool.
You mean the Strixhaven colleges?
Strixhaven, sorry.
Yeah, this was, what is a college without lectures? And so this is actual, factual, and these are actual people who do this, for a living. And of course you have Frank Carson, who, famously loves math. The thing, I didn't hear very much about the rest of these lectures, but I did hear a lot of buzz around the Frank Carson lecture, because he had posted a screenshot of what the ideal mana bases should look like for a limited deck, a constructed deck, and then a commander deck. And the commander players were like, oh no. Because he was like, you should be running 42 lands or something. And the commander players were like, what? Yeah. And then he was like, your curve should stop at like 5. And the commander, and poor Shivam had to go on Twitter and be like, this is just peak efficiency. Right. He's like, you do not have to do this. Because
this is a mathematician.
Because the actual commander players were like, I'll be damned.
Yeah, so there was a series of lectures that happened throughout this week, and the final one is happening tomorrow. As far as I know, they seem really fun and cool and interesting.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
I want to watch the first Witherblooms one later. Because that one's the one on like the four humors theory and like biomancy of Witherbloom. That one seems super interesting and totally not relevant to Magic the Gathering, but fascinating I just like learning stuff, and that one's something that I have no idea what that is, and I want to see it.
Absolutely. So moving on here, because the first quarter has ended and it's time to talk about what happened in it, Hasbro had their first quarter earnings call. So on the 27th, this is the first time that they've reported on Wizards as a portion of the company, as a segment of the company, not a subsidiary, not a wholly owned whatever. It's this is a section of Hasbro, so they can talk really actually about what Wizards is doing in terms of the business sense, and it's really interesting. CEO Brian Goldner said that Wizards of the Coast, as I got my window wrong here, as Wizards of the Coast and digital Q1 revenue was up 15% year over year. That's a lot, considering, again, this year over year includes the start of the pandemic from last year. MTG Arena, which launched on mobile in quarter one, saw its revenue grow 24% year over year. That's a lot, everybody.
Yeah. I mean, that's partially because everybody's stuck inside.
Partially. Goldner also revealed that Kaldheim was Magic's biggest, aka best-selling winter set ever. Again, this is collector boosters and things pump these numbers up quite a bit, which is great.
Sure.
Goldner said tabletop is performing incredibly well, even though that most people can't play it together, and there's no, quote-unquote, there is no cannibalization between digital and tabletop. And that's an interesting phrase.
I don't believe it. Yeah.
Curious how they got that data, where you drew that conclusion. Someone said, they're not playing at stores, but that doesn't mean they're not playing.
I interpreted this differently. I took this to mean that, it's a popular I mean, it's something that Wizards has been accused of. They've been accused of caring more about online Magic, specifically at the expense of paper Magic. And so I think that... also, our name tags you have me as Ruben, and Ruben is me.
I screwed that up.
Thanks for the heads up, Mas Fuerte. That's something that people have accused Wizards of specifically, is that they are cannibalizing tabletop to boost Arena. And it sounds like what he's saying is that, they are allowing both of those things to be successful, and one being successful does not mean it's happening at the expense of the other.
Right. I think that it would be interesting to see... Because, so if Strixhaven is the biggest winter set ever, clearly Kaldheim is the biggest winter set ever. Mm-hmm. Clearly that the sales from Kaldheim that took place in the winter of 2020, 2021 did not cannibalize the online play, and also maintained their growth through a pandemic. And so I would be interested to see how they came to this conclusion. It seems like this might be, after this, therefore because of this, as like a little bit of a logical fallacy, because I don't know how they could possibly come to this conclusion 100%.
Well,
be that as it may, though, all of this news is very good.
It's terrific for Wizards. I mean, and stockholders and stuff, fantastic. But the biggest, I think, drop was at the end, where they said 15% growth in Q1 2021 from Hasbro's investor presentation. The revenue was $242 million in the first quarter of 2021. That's just the quarter, which means they could make up to $1 billion if they keep going, with an operating profit of $110 million. That is 45% profit margin. Let me explain to you. That is insane. That is nuts.
Yeah. So for those who aren't familiar with kind of the business world, so a good rule of thumb is that 5% is considered a low profit margin, 10% is considered a good or fair a fair average profit margin, and 20% is usually considered good. 45% is phenomenal, and it looks like they also had a really good year last year as well. And it's important to know that they also increased their operating costs. They did put a little bit more money into design and still came away with this, which is incredibly impressive. The two biggest takeaways for me on this are, number one, where's the money going? Because it's obvious that it's not going to things like prize support. And the other question I have is really, how long can this keep going? Because, how much new blood is out there? Is this old blood that's just, continuing to open their wallets? We hear all these stories of people that feel fatigued with all these products. And it really does remind you that, we all kind of live in a social media bubble, whether we want to admit it. And, for as much as we look around and see people who say they can't afford it, or they're exhausted by it, it's clear that that's not the case around the world, that there are people that are thrilled by these products and have the money to spend on these products, and it shows no sign of slowing down.
The current Secret Lair layout, again, $10 Shocklands, as many as you want. That is insane. We're going to look back on this 3 to 5 years from now and go, those Shocklands are $30 to $40. You could have gotten them for $10. And Wizards knows that, and they understand that. And this is the collectible making portion of the company just going hog wild. I mean, just going completely nuts. And again, this profit margin is just bananas.
Or we'll look back on it and be like, they twisted the knobs too much, and this is what, ultimately killed everything. Which is not what's going to happen, because you can't kill magic. It just isn't a thing that you can do.
They've been trying. I do hope that the thing, like the things that are going to kill Magic. Please don't add the universes beyond to the things that are going to kill Magic, because no one said it was ever going to kill Magic. They were just upset that he were crossing the streams.
Right.
No one ever said they were going to kill Magic. It's ridiculous.
And I think that all of the news in this section, we'll talk a little bit about something else that the CEO said a little bit later.
Yeah.
But all of this stuff. All this stuff was great.
All this stuff was high five, good things for Wizards.
They're going to keep making Magic cards for the foreseeable future.
It turns out, yes, there will be more. All right, and some more good news over here. Douglas Shuler showed up on Instagram after 18 years. He's thrilled to announce that he'll be working with Wizards of the Coast again, I guess his Secret Lair. But who cares? It's Douglas Shuler making Magic art. That's amazing.
Yeah, so Doug Shuler is one of the old school original Magic artists. He's done things like Benelish Hero, Candelabra of Tawnos, Chandler, Contract from Below, the original Demonic Tutor. He's a very distinct style. Like, you can look at his art and know it's a Doug Shuler piece. Just very vivid colors. I think he did the original Sarah Angel as well.
I believe that's correct, yes.
Just scrolling through here. Just so many hits. If you just look up his name, OG Icy Manipulator, Hypnotic Spectre, and so I am thrilled. I love that these old artists are getting another chance to shine, and I'm happy that he's willing to come back, because as I've said before, one of the more disappointing things is the artists who feel like they've gotten too good for Magic, and so it's always nice to see an artist who kind of remembers where they came from.
Right. He is an old fogey and a real blast from the past, and he did both of those cards. He did Blast from the Past and Old Fogey. He's also the artist for Prodigal Sorcerer, the original
Timmy.
Among many others. So it is exciting to see him return. And he always, to me, felt like had a much more modern styling. Like, I feel like Doug Shuler could make Magic. Like, there's some artists that I look at and go, that's not Magic's motif anymore, right? I love them, but they're not in a modern Magic the Gathering pack. I look at Doug Shuler's art and I think to myself, I could foreseeably see some of this art in modern packs.
I mean, let's be honest. After Faithless Looting, whatever.
They can do whatever they want.
They can do whatever they want. It doesn't matter. They went all the way. It's fine. Go nuts. Over here is Wizards of the Coast announcing that the Black is Magic promotion, The Secret Lair, gave a total of $946,625 to Black Girls Code, which is incredible.
Yeah. So the article says this money will go towards benefiting the game design, digital art, and game development programs of Black Girls Code, an organization that empowers girls of color in game design, technology, and other coding programs. So this is really, really good news. This is a lot of money, and the product was also a hit as well. This was a product that you could feel good about buying, not only because the cards were good, but the organization was widely regarded as being a good organization as well. And so just more good news of... I did hear something a little bit controversial, though. I didn't feel qualified to really speak on it, but I don't know if you remember last week I had mentioned that they had their partnership with Extra Life led to them raising about $1 million for an autism organization, or an autism wing. One of our listeners, who I believe is also autistic, had listened to our episode and indicated that particular organization they might have given the money to may not have been the greatest, or their way of sort of working with autistic people is not the best. And so I don't know too much about that, but I did hear a little bit of rumblings that they maybe should have picked a better partner.
Sure. Yeah, finding the right charity to partner with is always a bit of an adventure, especially when you're a huge multi-million-dollar corporation like Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro. So hopefully they got that one right. If they didn't, well, that'll be a topic on next week's show.
Well, more good news to share. Louis Scott Vargas said, "Exciting news! The mild Nicodle is going to be a big sister come October. Him and Gaby Spart's going to have a baby.
Oh my goodness!
A little baby boy. Oh my goodness! Very nice.
Yeah, I mean, they are... I've really enjoyed watching them kind of blossom as a couple. I remember little Gaby Sparts. When I first met Gaby, I met Gaby at a World Magic Cup qualifier in Rosemont, Illinois, and I'll never forget it. She was this little thing. She played competitively. She was terrifying because she was so good at the game, and she was just impeccably dressed. And just to see her, turn into this powerhouse that is now working for Channel Fireball and is a major streamer, and she's let us in a little bit. We get glimpses into her personal life. She's so funny. I just wish nothing but the best for her.
Absolutely. I mean,
and him and them.
If Magic the Gathering has a power couple, I mean,
sure.
And just being that visible, it's a weird thing to be dating as a public figure, particularly at that level. Like, I can't imagine, how they keep it going. But God bless them, and I think they're great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So moving on here to our next story, someone had tweeted here that before they hear any established Magic players complain about the MrBeast event on Arena, know that they had already had at least 3 to 4 brand new players in today buying Strixhaven just because of that promotion.
Wow,
so
okay.
That's real world effects that we see.
Also, it's a free event. Like, if it's a free event, with prizes, you don't get to complain. Like,
oh no, it's
like,
not about complaining. This was the how dare you have MrBeast do something with Magic? That's silly. Or the fact that MrBeast isn't going to bring new players to Magic. He absolutely is bringing new players to Magic.
And it's shown by the following.
Yeah.
We didn't know who MrBeast was.
Right.
So MrBeast fans won't have known what Magic. It's very easy to figure. This is not a two-way mirror.
It's true.
This is like an easy puzzle to figure out. And so I look forward to even more people, primarily the extremely online young people that are going to come from YouTube videos coming into Magic.
Well, I think that sort of ties into what I had mentioned earlier, that, we all live in an echo chamber, whether we like it or not. I didn't know what a MrBeast was. There are people who don't know what Post Malone is. There are people who don't know about the lecturers. But, each of those people has their own sort of followings. And just because we don't know who they are doesn't mean that following doesn't exist. And doesn't mean that following doesn't have some value to Wizards and, isn't more of them just expanding their horizons, where, yes, they want the young YouTube kids and they want the Post Malone kids and they want the educators and they want all of that. And so I think it's great.
And I understand that as obviously anecdotal evidence, but enough anecdotes actually does become data. So that's good too.
Once is a coincidence, twice is a trend, 3 times is evidence, 15 times is it's
real.
That's a quandrix problem right there.
Yeah, exactly. You do enough partnerships with non-native partnerships, and you end up seeing it
Is
works.
this like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically.
Cool.
6 degrees of Kevin Bacon on your cheeseburger? Is that
right?
Man, it's been a minute since we threw that one out there.
Yeah, that's an old school
something
reference.
that we know
that reference
Aaron
is so old it's in kindergarten now.
Seriously.
Sorry.
Something we know Aaron's very excited about, which is the Arena Open. We know you're pumped.
Yeah.
You cannot wait to play Limited, first
Aaron,
of all.
tell us about the Arena Open. Why don't you
Absolutely not.
Who wants to win $2,000?
Yeah, I mean, the Arena Opens are value. I mean, it has been shown time and time again that these are, you need a 52% win rate or something to come out on top monetarily speaking. Mm-hmm. People love these things.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And this is where you get to see the old Magic pros just pop up and be like, won $1,000, just because that's what we do here, because they can do it from home. It costs
this is the best way to make money as a professional Magic player anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yike. Single yike. Yeah, and these are great events, so...
Yeah, these are fantastic. And again, this is 4,500 gems, which is like a little more than $20, something like that. And of course, you got to get to the 7 wins and best of 1, or the 4 wins and best of 3 to make day 2. And if you make 7 wins on day 2, you make $2,000, just like that. All right, so let's move on here. It's more of a desperate rating for that one, so we're going to move that one on. I wanted to highlight real quickly, this is just an absolute masterpiece. Eric Klug is a treasure. He is an actual factual treasure that we have in the community, and his work is absolutely insane. And we wanted to highlight a Dack Fayden that he had done. It's currently up on eBay if you're interested. But this is Indiana Jones thinking about taking the idol from Raiders of the Lost Ark, and amazing. My goodness, did he crush it.
Yeah, I mean, Eric Klug to me is just one of the original alterists. I feel like we've seen we've seen alters become quite popular in recent years, but he's been going for as long as I can remember. And every art style, he can do. We've seen him do his take on Egyptian art and Japanese art, and this obviously, and real people and cartoons and stained glass, and he's constantly raising the bar not only for himself but just other alterists as well. And I can't think of anything he's done that I've ever felt like, oh, I've seen this before. Oh, this isn't very good. He always just swings for the fences and usually makes it.
It's to the point, and I'm 100% serious. I'm going to talk to Eric and be like, you need to put your name in the eBay title of the auction. People are looking for your work, not just a altar. They want your work. I feel like they
have been for a long time, if he didn't know that already.
I didn't see it in the title, and I'm like, buddy, you are a big enough deal, I assure you.
Absolutely.
To be worth it.
Former South Korean national team member Eric Klug.
Yeah, big enough deal, and just a really great human being. Like, keeps his head down. You don't ever hear about him like saying anything stupid or tweeting anything stupid. Right. Like, he knows what he's here for, and he just delivers at all times.
All right, let's move here to Desperate Ravings. Let's talk about a store that closed recently And boy, like the ripples in the community, I think you would describe it as, were large.
Yeah, so this tweet was posted by Jacob Mayer, who's one of we call him Zoomers in the vintage community. There is a thriving community of teenagers. He's a 15-year-old magic grinder who specializes in vintage, among other formats. Wrote a Doomsday guide at 15. What were you doing at 15? I wasn't playing Doomsday, let me tell you. But Jacob's a treat, and he announced, or he had screenshotted an announcement from a store called Unemonia Games in downtown Berkeley, California, that is closing after 18 years and is trying to relocate. And he said that this was very sad news for Bay Area Magic players. And unfortunately, for me personally, I've become a little numb to this news because we've seen so many stores close in the last year or two that I just figured this was another store and I didn't really think anything of it. But Jacob had basically asked people to leave their memories of this store, and this ended up blossoming. There were 30 retweets on this. People like Cyrus Corman Gill, people like there was another
over here.
Right, Marcus Long, people who qualified for pro tours. There were people in all sorts of discords that had wonderful memories about this store. And I think we forget that these are more than just stores. These are more than just, brick and mortar locations. These are, hubs and communities, and these are places where formats thrive. This was a store that really supported legacy and vintage magic at a time when not a lot of stores are. And, after 18 years, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
This is a reality that, it's as Wizards continues to make what I would describe as poor decisions for organized play, this ripples down eventually to the stores. And if the stores start to lack confidence in what Wizards is going to give them in terms of prize support, in terms of tournament offerings, just support in general, right? And Wizards is over here going, secret lair, we're Hasbro people, we're making infinite profit margin, no more stuff for you, no more direct ordering for stores, no more from the vaults. That stuff adds up. Cool Stuff Games has closed a store due to this pandemic, has decided not to create another long-term lease, because in 5 years we need, the store needs to know that Wizards is going to be there for them. And the last 5 years have been pretty tumultuous, is a way that you could put it.
It's been slim pickings. Yeah, I mean, this is the flip side to the coin of the Hasbro earnings report call. Yeah. It's all good news for Wizards. They're figuring out all the knobs to make money for shareholders and bonuses for the bosses. And this is the flip side. This is, because those knobs are being twisted, some of the water pressure is being led to a different chamber, and the trickle here is slowing to a crawl. I mean, and it's sad.
I mean, obviously the you can't have the events there, right? Which I understand, but you only have so many dollars to spend on Magic. Just everybody does whatever that dollar amount is that you want to spend on it. That's the dollar amount. Where's it going?
If Kaldheim is the greatest selling winter set of all time, and stores are closing, and Magic has always been sort of like the flagship thing for a lot of these stores, and it sounds like Udo was like, when you grow up in a big city, there's like 5 game stores, but there's the game store that has like the competitive scene, right? Like that's where the good players go to play F&M or whatever, right. And that sounds like what Udo was. And to see big paragons of the community go away like that, it's sad. We're going to get the influx of these new players. We're going to get the influx of the Zoomer MrBeasts and Post Malone fans, but we're going to lose some of that old flavor. So is that just progress? Yeah. But progress is a little bit wistful in its process.
Absolutely. So, oh boy, let's talk about something weird and new and different, and will make you very upset depending on your stance on this.
Reading it.
It's really weird. People are starting to attack other people and stuff, which is also kind of weird for me. All right.
What? Hasbro, not in my Magic.
I've seen some people. All right. Well, and tweets have been deleted and stuff like that. The point is, during the first quarter financial results conference call, the Hasbro CEO stated that the company is looking forward to generating NFTs. Those are non-fungible tokens. Please Google it. I can't explain it in a short period of time. For Hasbro properties like Transformers and G.I. Joe. And then, of course, they drop Magic and the D&D brand, because why not? Because NFTs are making an absolute ton of money. And that, no matter, you don't even have to understand them, and I think a lot of people Wizards don't, to know that they're making money, to know that people are creating something and then selling it for a ton of dollars, and those dollars are only going up. And if you go to Hasbro executive and say, hey, we can invest, X hours of Y, man people's time, and they will come back and create a system where this NFT, they're going to have the, let me tell you, I can already give you the preview. They're going to have the environmental friendly NFTs. You know what? They're not going to be the evil NFTs. They're not going to take advantage and use as much power to burn down a rainforest or whatever. No. These are going to be the good NFTs, not the bad NFTs. We're the good people. Remember, please buy this weird thing that you don't understand how it works. Like, that's kind of how we're going to be. And that's really weird to me. But to pull Magic into it, didn't go over so well.
Yeah, I was seeing a couple tweets of like, oh, Magic players already invest in, physical cards, and they already invest in digital objects. How different is this? And it's like, NFTs, or non-fungible tokens, are literally what a Captain Planet villain does, which is you turn on a machine that pollutes the atmosphere and money comes out. Like, there's no benefit to the creators behind NFTs that I can tell. Like, the people that make the art,
it depends on the setup.
Yeah, but
sometimes
like,
they make a little bit, depending on the setup.
But it's not. It's mostly made by it's a zero-sum kind of game, as far as I can tell. Where in order for someone to make money, someone else has to be losing money. There's no greater good of NFTs. Oh, by the way, there's unknown environmental impact. People are being taken advantage of by selling fake versions or selling things for 10 times less than they should be. It's such a Wild West kind of technology that has no laws around it.
Oh, absolutely.
That it is kind of befuddling that a billion-dollar company would be trying to get into bed with this kind of technology, in my opinion.
I think the smartest thing to Google at this point is to say, like, Google NFTs breaking. Understand how that can work and how your NFT that you bought can literally fizzle into nothing. That is the part that I want most people to understand, because a lot of these things that are explaining NFTs go all the way up to the point where they say, here's how the blockchain works and here's what you stick on it, blah, blah, and they don't explain what that actual, digital certificate is doing, which is just a link to a file that can go away. But it's wild. I mean, NBA Top Shot, like, that stuff is exploding. I can't deny the money.
I don't know about all that, but I know these NFTs aren't going away.
Hey! Download these. It's just so stupid. I think NFTs are just one of the dumbest things. And I know I'm a terribly old man who's yelling at a cloud, almost quite literally in this situation.
It's true.
But they are... It's so weird, and I can't imagine this turning out well.
It's a baffling amount of energy for something that is most of the time not worth it, and these weird bad faith arguments of like, you're typing this on a $2,000 computer and you're using your iPhone and you've got lights hooked up on you.
There were people who don't normally wade into Twitter controversies that even had opinions on this, and it was just like, oh my god.
Okay, all right. I mean, again, this is, you can make money. Why shouldn't we make money? Hasbro's like, we want to make money, right? You want to make money? You guys want to make money? They're going to do it. It's just how they present it to you is what they're working on.
The decision to go into NFTs is not confusing if you come at it from, you walk up to the dragon that sits on a pile of gold in Hasbro headquarters, and the dragon says, will this make us money? And then you say yes, and then the dragon says, gold, and then they do it. Like, from that standpoint, it makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
From every other standpoint, it is absolutely befuddling.
Yeah, it is Terabad. But let's move on here to our next Terabad situation, which is that Strixhaven is Arena's most expensive set. It's not even close, by the way. It is the most expensive set. There was a video and an article here by Saffron Olive where he basically explains how much he has spent so far, how much he has earned in the client so far. And obviously this is, this is fuzzy when it comes to events and how well you do at events and the packs you get from events or whatever. But the idea that you spend X dollars and you've gotten Y% of the set is real. And the fact that they put this mystical archive thing all right on top of it was basically another set on top of the set. Yeah. And adjusting the rarities, like, I mean, I get a weird feeling, like, not a comfortable one, like a weird feeling when I open Stone Rain as my explosion rare. I'm like, I just don't I'm not that excited to open it. I'm sorry.
Right.
It's weird to me, and I don't know. But here we are in a set that is designed to drain those wild cards. It does a incredibly good job at doing that.
Yeah, it is very weird opening a pack and having a rare like mana tithe.
God's Willing was another one the other day. Jesus Christ.
There's just 100 million of these in this set. And I remembered thinking like, oh, the Mystical Archive's cool. It'll be kind of a little bit rare, like the previous, Invocation kind of thing. Nope, they're in every gosh darn pack. And I was just like, this, I didn't sign up for this. This was not the limited environment I wanted. I didn't want to see, multiple Defiant Strikes in every draft that I'm in.
How about Time Warp coming out to kill you out of nowhere? Right? I got that one.
I mean, so the first pick Mythics are like, those are kind of cool and exciting. Like, ooh, I opened a Time Warp.
Cube-like,
ooh,
yeah.
I got a Teferi's Protection. Like, that's a ooh, wow moment. But I open up, like, a D-Spark, and I'm like, it's a nice, it's okay.
It's fine.
But, like, I don't really care.
Grape Shot is a rare. Okay, it's fine. And, of course, when you compare it anywhere close to Magic Online, like, Magic Online has gotten, like pennies to the dollar for a lot of things. And it also leads into another story we'll talk about here in a minute, but ultimately the idea that if you're playing to collect something that can retain value and you can later get value out of it, you got to go the Magic Online route. But the ooh shiny is Arena, and that money only goes one way, directly to Wizards' pockets.
There's no way to make money come out of Arena, even if you win those gems in the Arena Open.
Right.
The only way to make money come out of Arena is through third-party supplements that help you win tournaments associated with Arena.
There you go. All right. So Allison Steele, who had originally been managing Magic Online, mentioned that they're leaving Wizards of the Coast. Aaron,
Yeah.
will tell us about it?
So Allie is one of my friends. She's the godmother of the Trans Mafia, and she is currently the Magic Online digital product manager. So it's my understanding that she replaced Lee Sharp when Lee moved on to Magic Arena, and so she had held this role for a couple of years, and she announced on Twitter that she is going to be leaving after about 7 years to go help be a systems designer for World of Warcraft. So she says that World of Warcraft and Magic are the two games that she's played the longest. She does not have to move. It's my understanding that they were gracious enough to let her, stay in Seattle and work remotely from there or from Renton. And so her and her wife are not going to have to, pick up and move or anything. But, it's the end of an era. She's been there quite a long time. She's even been involved in, I think she said she helped design Modern Horizons, the first one, in some capacity. And just a great human being, just one of the best people I've ever met. And I'm just really happy for her and anxious to see where Magic Online goes from here. And fun fact, she's also the person who writes those puns. When you log into Magic Online and you see like the Shark Typhoon pun of all the sharks, she writes those. Those come from her mind and her hands, and so better appreciate her.
Yeah, Allie's great. I think that Allie got the first Magic Mike's playmat that when we got Magic Mike's playmats made, she got the first one from me.
Oh,
I think.
Nice.
She also designed the newest Squee the Immortal.
Yes.
And opened one in a pack, and it was a very proud moment, of course, for anyone who's dreamed of playing Magic and then going to work at Magic is having your own kind of design. But people grow and people change, and she wanted a new challenge, and felt like Wizards was time for her to come to an end at Wizards, and wish her nothing but the best.
Yeah, I worked with her for quite a while there at Star City Games, and she was a judge, and she was great at that. And of course, went off to Seattle, and I wished her well and whatnot. And here we are, 7 so odd years later. So good luck to her.
Yeah, time changes.
Tell you what. All right, let's move on here. I don't have any strong feelings about the last few little bits here, unless you guys do.
I want to talk about this 7-card best of one sideboard.
All right,
I was going to talk about
go.
Enter the Battlefield.
Y'all do what y'all do.
And we'll also talk about that.
Go for it.
I will briefly harp on this best of one sideboard UI, which is horrendously stupid and bad.
It's kind of bad.
It's gross. I've been trying, I must have spent 5 minutes trying to get a sideboard to match up where I had a 3 of, and then a 4 of, and then a 4 of, and a 4 of, and it just wouldn't do it in my sideboard. It was so frustrating trying to swap them like it's some sort of like slide puzzle. Like you gotta move this card so that you can move this card, like a Rubik's cube in your. I'm not here for that. Get rid of it. Wishboards are not that overpowered.
It
that
really
you
wasn't.
need to have them separated. It's so stupid. Get rid of it.
Right. This and I compared this to companions when they're like they freaked out and they changed the whole ruling about them and they're like, we don't want another companion situation. We'll cut this off at the pass and we'll say before the set's even out we'll explain to you how we're restricting your sideboard, and the lessons aren't that good, and it's not
they're
that
good. They're not
fine.
that good.
They're not that good. They're fine. They're designed to be fine.
But having access to 8 of them isn't better than having access to 7 of them. Your 8th sideboard, whatever.
You're not going to break anything.
We tried it, and now we should stop trying it.
Right. I feel like I would have much rather done it the other way, which is just let us have 15 card sideboards and see if it's a problem, and then you can spend time and resources fixing that problem, because this feels like they fixed something that wasn't broken. They were just convinced it was going to be, and as a result, we kind of got stuck with it. So, okay, that's a thing. Aaron?
Yeah, so 5 years ago, they released Enter the Battlefield, which was a documentary about Magic that was on Netflix at one point. You can watch the whole thing on YouTube on the official Magic the Gathering channel, but what a time capsule this is. So there's
crazy.
no mention, I don't think there's any mention of any sort of online Magic. There's so much emphasis on the Pro Tour. You have features with Kai Buddha. You have a segment on Patrick Chapin. Owen Turtenwald is a main character in this movie, specifically about his rise to the top. You have a segment including Melissa DeTora and her impact on women in Magic. Chris Pakula also has a major storyline in this movie as well. I mean, it is a documentary, of course, but there is a trajectory for him in his movie and what he's trying to do. And so, but it's just so wild to look at this and just realize that this system, as we know it, does not even remotely exist anymore. And a lot of these people, is Kai still a Hall of Famer? Like, does the Hall of Fame still exist? I mean, there's just so many things about this movie that we don't know about anymore, and that people are going to watch this and be like, I don't understand this. And it's just a wild ride to be able to see this and just be like, this is how it used to be, and it's not even close.
It's what Wizards has done to organized play is just cruel and unusual in some facets, because the idea that there was this very clear line of X to Y to Z, that this is how you make it as a Magic player, this is how you level up as a Magic player, this is when you've made it, when you get your first top 8 at a Pro Tour, when you get your 4th top 8 at a Pro Tour, and it feels like that's the Hall of Fame stat that you need to get. There were all of these clear delineations of what you needed to do, and then they just blurred all the lines, said none of it really matters except if we like you and you got a really cool Twitch stream, and these spaghetti string ideas of how you're going to get into the MPL, and a miserable way of trying to stay in the MPL. And then now it's like, well, look at this cool thing we used to have and how clear it was, and how
the
you
pride
understood
in it too. When you watch this documentary, every one of these guys and even girls, when you look at Shahar and you look at Patrick, this is a system that they want to be a part of, and this is such a system that they speak fondly of. And I just keep thinking about that last major tournament where just about everybody on that roster was unhappy. And so just to see this video that's so full of hope and so full of promise, and makes you want to be part of this and makes you want to succeed. And you cut to, tweets upon tweets of, I hate this, this is miserable, I don't want to be doing this. It's a far cry.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, when we started this show, organized play was the pinnacle of what Wizards of the Coast was able to do. Mm-hmm. No game in the world had the organized play that Magic the Gathering could pull off, and no games tried. Mm-hmm. Man, they had a unique golden goose. Yeah. But then everything changed when the dragon took over, and the dragon said, is this making me money? And the answer really is no. And so that was the end of that. Right.
It was the underpants gnomes. It was, your organized play is running and costs you a bunch of money. Question mark, profit. At some point, the organized play made you money, sort of by extension, or whatnot. Right. But they couldn't draw a line, so they couldn't get approval, and esports couldn't integrate with Arena, and everything just went to crap. And that's kind of where we're at. That kind of sucks.
Yeah.
All right.
It's too bad.
It's
Bit of a
unfortunate.
downer to end the show on.
Yeah,
No,
almighty.
I think it's necessary though, because I think that we can't just. I think it's fitting. We led with so much success. We talked about all the money that, was raised for Black Girls Code. And we talked about, the fact that we're getting on TMZ, and we're talking about the fact that we're making, a 45% profit margin. But there is a flip side to that. And I think it's necessary to talk about the fact that, stores are closing and OP has been destroyed as we know it. And, it isn't as simple as looking at a profit sheet and going, oh, we're doing really great here. There is a cost there. And I think it's important that we talk about that.
And there's also a long-term, the long-term damage, which we won't know, obviously, until the long-term gets here. But, there's a whole host of communities that have been sort of cracked at the foundation, whether their stores are closing or the stores are not going to renew their leases, whether the players just going to, screw it, I'm just going to play online because I can't get the cards, I don't have anywhere to play, there's no big events I care about. And the response that Wizards has as a result is going to be incredibly important. I mean, the first big event when people are happy enough and safe enough and yada yada, that first big event has to be huge. It has to be huge. I don't know how else to say it.
Speaking of big events, I do want to kind of add some like an addendum or an update. On the last show, did I mention the Legacy Pit on the live show, or was it the pre-show? Either way, somebody in our Discord did inform me that they do seem to be having some very good safety precautions there. It is an event that is being run in September. And I did view their website, and they seem to have a really great handle on things. So I apologize if I made it seem like it was risky or anything like that. I mean, it's still a little bit risky, but they do seem to have their head-ons pretty straight. Heads on pretty straight.
Yeah, I think that we can actually end on an upbeat, which is it seems like things are coming to the end of the tunnel in the United States, which is where the three of us live. It seems like, a massive, overwhelming percentage of people are trying to get the vaccine or have already gotten the vaccine.
Right.
At least, I think almost 50% of the United States population has had at least vaccination number 1. Mm-hmm. The newest information out of the CDC says that if you've had both vaccinations and have had the 2-week incubation period, then you can kind of almost resume normal activity in a lot of settings, such as outdoors at parks, going on jogs, things like that. The risk to you is significantly lessened. You should still wear masks when you're in public gatherings like churches and things like that. But all of the news, for at least for our American privilege, is that we're almost there, and by the summer it will be even more and more and more, and I'm starting to see a ton of events pop up for September.
So get your shots.
Getting back to normal. Absolutely get your shot. And hopefully you have access.
Yep, I agree. All right. Well, that was a show, good, bad, or ugly. We have to report it whether we like it or not.
We had it all this week, right? We had very good things. We had some not so great things, and then we had some weird stuff.
Weird stuff. All right, so let's turn the corner here to the finisher. The only thing people are talking about this week is Post Malone. The rapper, singer, and record producer is a megastar on a massive scale, and now he's been spotted at FLGS's and most recently at the Game Night Studio. It's nice that Magic is getting even more attention from the even more big A-list celebrities. So tell me, who do you hope hops on a Command Zone episode next, Aaron?
All right. So musicians are still the tops when it comes... Some of them are bottoms too, but that's another show. Musicians are still the tops when it comes to outreach, and few are more influential than Ariana Grande. And I think she would love Magic, because I move on from decks just like she does. I'm not interested in this deck anymore. Thank you, next. Just
nice. Just moving on. Just go on. It's fine. Yeah. A cool little video. It'd be fantastic.
Thank you to all the decks I've played before.
Right.
Wow.
On to the next one.
That's true. That's true.
Ruben?
If you want to get the kids invested, you got to tap into TikTok, YouTube, and Clubhouse. And two of the biggest social media celebs are the Paul brothers, Jake and Logan Paul. I'm sure they could do wonders for MTG, as just in 2021 they've already launched Pokemon cards, the WWE, and Ben Askren through the roof.
Wow. Well, we'll see if they can...
That's MMA joke.
I was going to say, is that a deep cut? Because I didn't know.
That's a bit of a deep cut.
That's a little bit.
Oh my God. Can we talk about, someone mentioned JJ Watt. Can I talk about the fact that, like, I do not care at all about sports, but I will follow JJ Watt and his wife anywhere. I just love them. They're just couple goals, and they're both good human beings, and I just love it.
Nice. Well, TikTok and Billboard stars are great and all, but there is one star in the world who is bigger than all the rest. A hit sure to make everyone have to take 2 weeks just to recover. Coming to game nights this summer, Dr. Anthony Fauci. That's right. You got to get that ouchie, that Fauci ouchie.
What commander do you think Fauci would play?
Olivia Voldaren. With the blood magic, you gotta stick them. You gotta stick them and then gain control of the 5G network.
I don't know about that.
No,
well, that ends another live episode of Magic Mike's. Thanks for joining us here to discuss all things magic. Thank you, Aaron.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Ruben.
It's either that or Dr. Julius Jumblemorph. I think would be a good commander too.
Jumblemorph. We're going to move here to our final slide. I want to thank our sponsor, CoolStuffInc.com, our co-sponsors, CardHoarder.com, and our newest sponsor, Alter Sleeves. Get yours at altersleeves.com/magicmikes. My co-hosts, Aaron Campbell and Ruben Bressler, you guys for watching and listening. I hope you support us at patreon.com/magicmikes. Please follow, like, tweet, favorite, share, subscribe to everything social that tells people we exist. Catch us online on our Discord, twitch.tv at Magic Mikes, on Twitter at Magic Mikes Cast, our Magic Mikes subreddit, and like the Magic Mikes page on Facebook. Or join us here next week, same time, same place, for another episode of Magic Mikes. Good night, everybody.